Jim, I'm going to slide these extras back under your shoulder.
Better get you a pen. Because you're going to help tally the votes. Actually. Oh. No, but you'll be, yeah, you'll be adding them up though, right? So you gotta, yeah.
So I need paper too.
Yeah, and Jim's got a special sheet for that.
Yep.
You got one too?
I got one, yeah. Looks like I'm gonna be
Mine's in my
timer.
jacket bag.
Right on the mic. Yes.
So this is where it put the name of the contestant. And also, how many minutes they have.
Okay, and that'll come from this. So you'll be getting forms from the judges and from the timer.
I get information.
Yeah.
Pardon? Nancy has a speech also.
Yeah.
Was it supposed to get a speech?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, thank you. She's doing our to be evaluated speech.
And then I have instructions.
And Mark called me and he's supposed to be here. I don't know what's happening to him, but just so Jim knows, he's gonna give his updated speech about the pipeline as part of the contest.
So that'll be an international speech.
That'll be international.
All right, well, we will call our meeting to order. Hopefully we will have a few more come in. Today is our club contest. And let's all rise and we'll do the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. While we're standing, let's do the mission of the Toastmasters Club, please. The mission of the Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every individual member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn fosters self-confidence and personal growth. Thank you. You can be seated. Pete, our VP of Education, do you have some announcements for us?
Just this, and that is, remember, we're supposed to say every meeting to go ahead and give me your book at the end of the meeting so I can quickly initial off for what you completed.
Sounds good. And then, is there any other business?
I guess as far as the dues for April 1st through September 30th, I'm taking those payments for the memberships for those who have not paid the dues yet, and appreciate it if they get them in a timely manner would be much appreciated by me.
All right, thank you. Jim, do you have any business, or you want to talk to us as far as?
Not at the moment.
Sounds good. All right. Jim today is our contest chair. He has served in this role a number of times and learns something each time, and he always shares that with us, which I appreciate. Contests are a proven way of bringing skill development in Toastmasters to a higher level. This in the area of both leadership and speaking skills. Please help me welcome contest chair Jim Squires.
Thank you, Donna. We have judges, timer. We have our chief judge. We have a number of positions that are filled, and then we'll make up with counter, and I believe Virginia will be covering that. At this time, I would like to call on Pete Bruno, who will serve as our chief judge, to brief the contestants on what the rules are.
Okay.
Please help me welcome Pete.
Thank you very much. So, first for the judges, you have a handy dandy explanation either along the side for the evaluation contest or some more information on the back of your ballot for the rankings that you'll be giving people on different components of their speech. And for the contestants, for the international, we're looking for how the speech is organized, how it develops, whether it's effective, the value of the speech, your physical appearance, your voice, your manner, the appropriateness and the correctness of your grammar and word selection. So for the evaluation, we look for analytical quality. Are you making a helpful recommendation? Have you got a good technique? Is it sympathetic, sensitive, and motivational? And how do you sum up? So those are the things that you'll be judged on. And during contests, it's quite different than during normal meetings. And our contest chair will introduce you differently. And then just one other thing to remember about the judging, and that is if you have a concern about the way the judging was or how it turned out or things like that, it must be brought up to me before the close of the meeting. Once the meeting's over, it's all over.
Thank you, Pete. As a brief review, the lighting is this. The international speeches are 5 to 7 minutes in length. At 5 minutes, you will get a green light. That will remain on until 6 minutes. The amber light will then be turned on. It will remain on for 1 minute, and at the end of that, the red light will be turned on. You have 30 seconds exactly to conclude. Qualifying speeches are between 4 minutes and 30 seconds and 7 minutes and 30 seconds. 4:29 is disqualified, 7:31 is disqualified, and I will be asking if there are any disqualifications. In the evaluation contest, those speeches are from 2 to 3 minutes to evaluate the speech that Nancy will be presenting today. Again, here we have the green will come on at 2:30. The yellow will come on at, excuse me, the green will come on at 2 and remain on for 30 seconds. Then the amber will come on at 2 minutes and 30 seconds and remain on for 30 seconds. And then the red light will come on at 3. Again, you have a fudge factor of 30 seconds. So qualifying on the evaluation contest are from 1 minute 30 seconds to 3 minutes 30 seconds. Those are the two contests that we'll be running today. Your time begins at the first obvious communication. It may be a gesture, it may be a sound, but that starts the timer's clock. So following each of our presenters, we will have 1 minute of silence. And if the timer would time that minute so that everybody has all of the judges have that opportunity to complete that their evaluation or their judging in that 1 minute time frame. When we do the evaluation contest, the only additional thing there is that we have a 5-minute interlude in which we allow the contestants time to formulate the speeches that they're presenting during the evaluation. And during that time frame, the sergeant of arms will take them out of the room. You guys go out in the hallway, find a seat or something out there, and you can work on your evaluation. When you're called back in, then we will proceed with the contest. What I do in that 5 minutes is I will be interviewing people. So that's how we fill that space in a contest. Yes, Mr.
You may make notes, evaluation contest people, while you're out there, but then you give them to the sergeant of the arms when you enter the room.
Thank you for adding that, and that's an important point.
Who are going to be the judges?
The judges are for we'll start with the International Speech Contest. And here we have George is judging, Pete is judging, and Nancy is judging. So we have 3 judges for that contest. And then in the evaluation contest, we have George and Pete, and let's see, I believe those are the 2. Are you a judge in that contest?
Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
pardon me, I'm not the judge, I'm a
You're a contestant.
contestant, sorry.
Okay.
So Nancy be a judge in that too?
Unless
Let's see.
she's competing, she may be a judge.
As long as she's not competing, yeah. Okay, if you'd be
If
willing
she's
to
allowed to
judge both
compete in the
contests.
No, she can't evaluate her own speech, so, yeah, so Nancy can judge.
Okay. Any other questions? We will begin with the International Speech Contest. We have 2 contestants, Donna and Alan. Alan, pick a number between 1 and 5.
I'm sorry, I thought I was just.
Oops,
a
you're in the,
evaluator.
you're an evaluator. Okay. Okay, Donna, are you our only contestant?
Does Nancy have speech?
No, that is for evaluation.
Mark is supposed to be. Mark is
Mark was
supposed to be
scheduled.
here. If
Donna?
Nancy wants to give her speech as part of the contest and then go to the evaluations, we could do that probably. Do you think? If she wants.
We can adjust.
Would she have to give the speech again for the evaluators?
No.
Okay, so we would be needing, if she was competing in this speech contest, the evaluator would need to,
She won't be able to be a judge
right,
on that contest.
I,
But you don't have judges.
Yeah, we do.
We've got enough judges. We just are a little short on contestants. Is there anybody besides Donna in the international speech contest?
Just Mark.
Just Mark, and he's not present.
But let's ask Nancy what she feels like doing too.
Do you want to give a different speech for the international? It would be
I think the
actually
question,
2
I think
different
the question
speeches.
is, were you like me and did you go ahead and make a flawed speech so that you could force the evaluators to deal with intended mistakes, or are you gonna just
And here comes Mark.
give your best? No, there
here
you
it
go.
comes.
Yeah, okay.
Is Mark coming?
Yeah.
Here comes Mark. Let's see if he is going to be giving a speech. So hold your thought for a moment. And
No, she could still compete if she wants.
yes, you're eligible.
No,
Mark, have you got a speech for the international contest?
Oh, well, yes. Yeah, it's not a manual speech, but I got a speech about 5 minutes.
Okay, you will be the second of, Donna will be doing an international speech. You will be doing an international speech. It's up to you. If you're not prepared, just say no.
That's fine. I think with just 2 of them.
Okay, we'll have 2 competitors for international speech then.
And Mark was gonna do an evaluation of Nancy's speech as well. So
Okay.
you've got 2.
Okay. Donna, what's the title of your speech?
I gave you a.
Oh, you did give me, I'm sorry. When we introduce people in contests, it's a real minimal thing. We give your name and the title of your speech, repeat it in the reverse order, and then proceed from there. So, Donna has chosen to do the inaugural address by John F. Kennedy. Donna Emmett with the inaugural address by John F. Kennedy.
Vice President Johnson, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chief Justice, President Eisenhower, Vice President Nixon, President Truman, Reverend clergy, fellow citizens. We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom, symbolizing an end as well as a beginning, signifying renewal as well as change. For I have sworn before you and Almighty God the same solemn oath our forebears prescribed nearly a century and 3/4 ago. The world is very different now. For man holds in his mortal hands the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life. And yet the same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still at issue around the globe. The belief that the rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hands of God. We dare not forget today that we are the heirs of that first revolution. Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans, born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, proud of our ancient heritage, and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed, and to which we are committed today at home and around the globe. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, in order to assure the survival and the success of liberty. This much we pledge and more. To those old allies whose cultural and spiritual origins we share, we pledge a loyalty of faithful friends. United, there is little we cannot do in a host of cooperative ventures. Divided, there is little we can do, for we dare not meet a powerful challenge at odds and split asunder. To those new states whom we welcome to the ranks of the free, we pledge our word that one form of colonial control shall not have passed away merely to be replaced by a far more iron tyranny. We shall not always expect to find them supporting our view, but we shall always hope to find them strongly supporting their own freedom. To those peoples in the huts and villages across the globe, struggling to break the bonds of mass misery, we pledge our best efforts to help them help themselves for whatever period is required, not because the communists may be doing it, not because we seek their votes, but because it is right. If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich. To our sister republics south of the border, we offer a special pledge to convert our good words into good deeds in a new alliance for progress to assist free men and free governments in casting off the chains of poverty. But this peaceful revolution of hope cannot be the prey of hostile powers. Let all our neighbors know that we shall join with them to oppose aggression or subversion anywhere in the Americas. And let every other power know that this hemisphere intends to remain the master of its own house. Finally, to those nations who would make themselves our adversary, we offer not a pledge, but a request that both sides begin anew the quest for peace before the dark powers of destruction, unleashed by a science, engulf all humanity in planned or accidental self-destruction. We dare not tempt them with weakness, for only when our arms are sufficient beyond doubt can we be certain beyond doubt that they will never be employed. So let us begin anew, remembering on both sides that civility is not a sign of weakness, and sincerity is always subject to proof. Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. Let both sides, for the first time, formulate serious and precise proposals for the inspection and control of arms, and bring the absolute power to destroy other nations under the absolute control of all nations. Let both sides seek to invoke the wonders of science instead of its terrors. Together, let us explore the stars, conquer the deserts, eradicate disease, tap the ocean depths, and encourage the arts and commerce. Let both sides join in creating a new endeavor, not a new balance of power, but a new world of law, where the strong are just, and the weak secure, and the peace preserved. All this will not be finished in the first 100 days, nor will it be finished in the first 1,000 days, nor in the life of this administration, nor even perhaps in our lifetime on this planet. But let us begin. In your hands, my fellow citizens, more than in mine, will rest the final success or failure of our course. Since this country was founded, each generation of Americans has been summoned to give testimony to its national loyalty. The graves of young Americans who answered the call to service surround the globe. Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, though arms we need, not as a call to battle, though embattled we are, but a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in and year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, war itself. Can we forge against these enemies a grand and global alliance that can assure a more fruitful life for all mankind? Will you join in that historic effort? In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it, and the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Will due time 1 minute of silence for the judges to complete their task.
Judges are already done.
Are we ready to proceed, the judges? Okay. Our second speaker in the international contest is Mark Nelson. The title of his speech is Eye Contact with Conversational Aids. Mark Nelson, Eye Contact with Conversational Aids.
Thank you, Jim. When a youth becomes an adult, he reveals that his knowledge of right and wrong gets further than just table manners. However, many times have people said that manners in the work class are unimportant and insignificant. What I'm trying to say is that when an adult has a relatively addiction-free behavior, he has raised his life to a higher level. Communication is much better at this level. I have raised my level of life in Toastmasters since being a young, addictive man. The following movement of conversation I discovered myself over the last 15 years, and I am now using these conversational movements in my Toastmaster speeches. I would like you to observe my eye contact with individual members during this speech. Some things that polite company does is when the one speaking in a group of three looks at the second person and while looking refers to something that the second person can identify with, such as farming. Then the first party looks at the third person and refers to something he or she can identify with in your speech, such as watching the newscasts. The above two paragraphs include conversational movements from my three-person group discovery and eye contact during a Toastmaster speech, applying information from a phrase or sentence in your speech. The principles of visual aids are the same for both groups, the three-party conversation or at a speech at Toastmasters. This type of conversation makes the second and third parties feel like they are welcome and not left out. These moments of conversation increase communication, which is essential in some social situations, especially to the first speaker. The Toastmaster Manual says to refer to visual aids when giving a speech. This can be done by looking at objects or people in the room. However, when your speech is on a videotape recording, your job is to focus on the camera and your notes only, not on objects in the room or people in the room. Give specific information from your speech by looking at a specific club member whom is like that specific information. My discovery of three-party conversations, I feel, can be used as a visual aid. The Toastmasters Manual says to know your audience and well they identify with your speech. Less notes makes more time for visual aid contacts. To review the above paragraphs, match up a phrase from your speech by looking at one club member at a time, but not for too long because this will make them self-conscious. I thank you for your time and have a good day.
Thank you, Mark. Would you time 1 minute of silence for the judges to complete their assessment?
Jim, we need just another moment. And may I remind judges that ballots don't count if you don't both sign and print your name on the 2 lines?
Please complete that bottom portion and tear it off. That's the only thing that the chief judge will collect and the counters will utilize. Please do not use, or you can surrender to me or to Pete that top portion for destruction. That's the way we do that. Did she sign it?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Is this you?
This is.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Mr. Chairman, we're ready to proceed. I have the ballots for the counters, and we will go ahead and do that in due course.
Okay, that makes it easier. We'll just keep moving.
Yeah.
At this point then, we will proceed with the evaluation contest. The way we do this is we have a test speech, and Nancy has graciously, I think the word is graciously, or has accepted this challenge, graciously or otherwise.
Graciously.
Nancy has accepted the challenge to do the demonstration speech. Those, yes, sir.
I can prove graciously because she sent us an email saying, what can I do to help?
Absolutely, and that's wonderful.
Okay.
Having resolved that issue, our competitors are in the evaluation contest who will be bringing evaluations are Alan and Mark. Is there just the 2 evaluations then? Okay, very good. At this point in time, I would like to have Nancy, who will be doing she's doing a speech on a tall tale. Now I can introduce her differently than I did in the other contest. So this will be, yes, sir.
I was wondering, Nancy, do you have a manual to record in?
That we'll work with later, and we'll have 2 evaluations, and so we'll work with that later, Mark.
So let me interject. So
Please.
What's going to happen here is that just from your own notes, you will evaluate her speech, and then the judges will go ahead and rank the quality of your evaluation. So there's no sheet for you.
Okay.
You can take notes, but you've got to give them to Virginia before you come to the lectern. So you can take notes if that helps you organize your thoughts. Many people do.
Yeah.
But you don't get to take your notes to the lectern. You give them to Virginia when she lets you back into the room.
You're competing in a contest to see who is a better evaluator. That's what this type of contest is all about. Nancy's speech is what she has called the mayor's new policy. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Can I borrow the sheet of paper from someone?
Oh, absolutely.
I did not come prepared for that.
The blank sheet. You got a pen?
I do have a pen.
Okay, you got. Okay, now that we have everybody covered with some minimal thing, Nancy's speech is on a tall tale to inform you on gossip. And she has entitled this speech, The Mayor's New Policy. Please help me welcome Nancy Ford.
Well, do I have some juicy gossip for all of you today. I was just at the mayor's office, and you would not believe what he just told me. He just told me that he decided he was going to close the Dawson County landfill. That is quite a big story for Dawson County. And I thought to myself, close the Dawson County landfill? He said, yeah. But I was the first one to hear about that. And so you're the second person to hear about that. And the first things he told me, he says, do you actually know in December how much stuff went into our landfill? I said, I have no idea. He said, this is a report from the landfill office. There was 82,000 pounds of household trash. There was 43,000 pounds of trees. There was 5,360 pounds of compost and 7,500 pounds of concrete. That's what they reported in the second week in December. That is a lot of trash. An awful lot of trash. So I said, how in the world do you think you're going to close the Dawson County landfill? I've been up there. To close the landfill? I mean, where are you going to put all that stuff to? He said, give me a break, please. He said, I know about how to close the landfill. He said, first of all, most of the stuff you find in a landfill, according to our government, is glass. Well, he said, I have a great idea for glass. I said, you do? He says, yeah. All we have to do is take those glass bottles, wash them out, give them to Albertsons, give them to the flower basket. They can use them for flower vases. We don't need to put our glass into the landfill anymore. I got that problem all solved. Well, that sounds pretty darn neat, because I've seen some of those flowers arrangements they did at Albertsons lately. And I've even seen some of them from the flower basket. They look pretty attractive. The other thing he was talking about was newspapers and cardboard boxes and the junk mail and the grocery bags that we kind of get from our grocery stores. He said that's the second most common thing, basically, of that household trash we put into our landfill. I thought, how are you going to get rid of that? That's 82,000 pounds. He says, pretty easy, actually. He said, did you read the Glendale paper this week? I said, last night. I said, yeah, what about it? He says, look on page 1. It says, rural resident finds mail dumped in culvert. Hey, we're going to take all of our plastic bags, our junk mail, our newspapers, put them in a culvert. Better yet, did you actually read further in this newspaper article? It said it was on Badlands Route that this actually happened. Well, this is close to the Prairie County line as you can possibly get. It's not going to be in Dawson County, folks. It's going straight to Prairie County. We will not have to worry about that in Dawson County. Wow, isn't that terrific? We got 2 problems solved out of our landfill already. Number 3 is just these small items, plastic bottles. I know everybody's looking over at Alan this morning. He brought one of those plastic bottles to use. Well, they decided a lot of this plastic stuff we probably could also put in those culverts. But the secret to that is we had an oil spill recently here in Glendale. We could take the motor oil, that's considered some household trash. We could take our plastic bottles. We could just take them a few yards down the river, give them to Sydney. And we can claim that oil as not our oil, but we can claim it as the oil from the oil spill. He's really genius at this one. He really thought smart about this. We can take the oil, plastic bottles, and just empty all that stuff. And if we really wanted to, I suppose, we could even give some of our stuff to Oakland's and have them have some of that motor oil on their land. Actually, we'd be making money. Just stop to think about it. Not only can we support our football field a little bit further, we probably could really boost up Dawson County Fairgrounds. Man, that mayor sure was thinking smart when he said we were going to close that landfill. How about those soda cans? A lot of people love to drink soda. I'm number one on that list. I have 2 great big containers of empty soda cans. I love my Diet Pepsi. Just love it. Well, he told me, you don't throw those in the trash, dear. He says, you take them out and you get those recycled. You can make some money. He says, if you don't want to make money, he says, just leave them out. He says, somebody can take them there and they can get money for it. And then Dawson County can collect that money and put it back into the treasury fund. He was thinking really, really smart on that one also. And electronic waste. How many times have people thrown electronics? Just recently, I threw a microwave because it didn't work no longer in the trash. He said, well, that one's probably a little bit harder to do. But he did say, if you're really smart and you save all this up, there is someone who comes around every year anymore and collects things like that. We don't have to put it in our landfill. What are you thinking of? Just save it until they come around to collect it. There's leaves and grass clippings and other kind of yard waste. But those can always be recycled. You can always recycle stuff like that. You can always put them in your gardens. We don't need to use a landfill for that. Well, here we have 10 major things that he was just talking about to get rid of our household and our trees and our compost. We don't need our Dawson County landfill anymore. Yes, our mayor was really thinking smart on this one. The only thing he didn't mention after I stopped to think about it at the end was, what about the concrete? He didn't mention at all about concrete. And of course, time flew by and I forgot to ask him about the concrete. What are we going to do with the concrete? So I kind of called him up later this morning. I said to him, I said, you know, you kind of forgot about our concrete. What are you going to do about that? He says, give it back to the concrete company. I thought, of course we can give it back to the concrete company. All they need to do is put it back into one of their machines and put it back in as concrete for somebody else for their yard. Nobody will know. Yes, our mayor was thinking extremely intelligent when he wrote this new policy. Just think, to close the Dawson County landfill. And that is my gossip to you this morning. Nobody else knows about this. Nobody. You're the first people to hear about it. So make sure you don't tell a single soul, not one single person today.
Thank you, Nancy.
The contestants will have 5 minutes. There might be one more sheet of mine. Check. Thank you. I've done that before. I've walked off with someone else's notes. It's best if our Sergeant of Arms would take our contestants out and into the hallway, and we'll proceed with interviewing some folks here. And you have 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes will start as soon as you exit the room.
Am I one of the contestants?
You're one of the 2 contestants, yes.
Okay, all right.
You go ahead and put together your presentation and an evaluation of Nancy's presentation.
Mrs. Chair, could I bother you for a writing utensil? that
Sure,
I
sure,
can't
here's another one.
give up? Thank you, sir.
If you need another one, just holler.
Mark and Alan. Yeah, they're the ones competing. You're not competing, right?
Donna, would you please come forward? I have a question or two that I would like to ask of you. Thank you for what you presented here. I'll let the evaluators or let the judges deal with that. You are working for Edward Jones. How long?
15 years.
Really? 15 years. This predates your children then.
It does.
Okay,
I was in my
Okay.
20s.
okay. I'm gonna ask you a question. With a 15-year history with Edward Jones and about approximately 3 years with Toastmasters,
Mhm.
how have you utilized skills learned in Toastmasters at Edward Jones?
The reason I joined Toastmasters was because I accepted a role in our region of VOA mentor coordinator, where you have to get up and speak to the whole group, and I wanted to become better at speaking to a group, so that's why I joined Toastmasters. And I think it has helped as far as speaking to the group. I'm fine in small groups. I'll speak up and get things started, get the discussion started. And I do feel more confident getting up in front of the group now. So I credit Toastmasters for that.
Okay. Another question, and this relates to something that I was surprised. One day, Alan was gone, your boss. I guess he's your boss. And you were gone, and you had connected with the Miles City office in order to cover for you. I called to talk to you, and someone by the name of Maureen picked up in the Miles City office. You had some arrangement there. And I introduced myself, and she said, "Is this the Jim Squires from Bloomfield?" Do you know any more about that story?
I do.
Would you proceed and tell them? I'm curious myself.
Well, I was actually summoned for jury duty, and my boss and his wife, which his wife is my on-call, she works for me when I'm gone, but they were in New York City on their way out of the country, and jury duty, when you're called for jury duty, you go. They don't care that you don't have someone to work for you. So I called Maureen out of Miles City. She's there on call, and I pled my case to her, that I don't have anyone to work, and she graciously accepted the offer to come down to Glendive and work in our branch and cover for me. And she said she enjoyed it because she got to reconnect with you, which I believe you went to Bible school, or you had some
I'll
connection.
fill in those
Okay,
details.
yeah. So, but yeah, that was very wonderful of her to cover for me.
Maureen Eel, or after they moved into Glendive, their name was changed to Isle. Eel didn't, I-E-H-L. They lived right down here at the corner and up on Ames Y, about a block. That's where their house was. There were, Paul Duffner married one of the girls. There was Marilyn. There were 4 girls in the family. Maureen and I are exactly the same age, grew up together, were in Bible school together, and when we were about 5 years old, there was a Lutheran minister at the church where we attended who wanted to make sure that all of the children were baptized that attended. Well, neither Maureen and I had been baptized, and I refused to go forward in the church and be baptized at age 5. And when that was the case, Maureen, who was sitting right next to me, she refused as well. So that took place later that afternoon in the farmhouse a few miles from there. Maureen and I were not in school together, however, because we had moved into Gwinnett, and Maureen was taught by Margaret Campshire, the Campshire name. There was a business in town, Campshires. That was actually a near relative to her husband. Margaret Campshire taught, and Maureen took at least 2 grades together. So she graduated from high school when she was 16 years old. And anyway, she took some kind of, I believe it was a secretarial course, went to Germany, married a man, went to Germany, and had 3 boys, I believe it was. And then when she came back, she's almost family to me, only because of those connections. But anyway, that was a very wonderful moment, and I make you responsible for that connection. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you if you would step up, Nancy. Thank you for doing what you did. There's only a few of us here, but obviously a tall tale. What inspired this tall tale? Do you have a favorite author, or is it just something that you dabbled in? Please explain some background.
Don't say too much, though. Your evaluator's in the room.
Oh,
the 5 minutes were up.
Okay. Can we hold this for now?
Yes, sure.
But you can think about this, and I don't want to ruin our evaluator's moment here. So, is Mark on his way back in? No, we do one at a time. Thank you. Thank you. I'm being reminded. Let's see. We have our judges for this particular portion are Pete and George and Nancy, the same 3 judges. And at this time, I will call on Alan Roots to evaluate the speech that he heard from Nancy. Alan Roots.
Nancy, your speeches in the past have always been very interesting. You have a way of talking that lends a nice, relaxed attitude, and today was no exception. You were giving a tall tale, and several times I thought, wow, Mayor Jimison's really gone off his rocker, because you had me sucked in to the tall tale, and that's evident that your talents of giving a speech, you nailed it. I liked it. You got awesome eye contact. You weren't tied to the lectern. You walked over this way. All that adds vibrance to the speech. You, on several occasions, you leaned forward, and that told me that this is an important part of your speech. You referred back to your chart, visual aid use. I thought that was very good. And you even included the audience in your speech, lambasting me about my plastic non-recyclable Pepsi bottle. Wonderful, wonderful speech. If there was one thing that I could maybe give you some pointers on, maybe the ending of the speech, it just kind of was going, and it just like it fell off, and I wasn't 100% sure that you were finished. And that is something that I often have to work at, is perfecting the ending to tie it all up into my speech that I'm giving. I just really enjoyed your speech today. You have this wonderful way of sucking the audience in, and I don't think anybody was daydreaming. You're an awesome speaker, and I'm privileged to know you as one of our members of Toastmasters.
Thank you, Alan. Would you go out and catch Mark and Virginia? Please, 1 minute of silence for our judges.
Okay, we're ready for you all.
Okay, and away we go. I'm gonna have to escort you back to the meeting.
Our second evaluator contestant is Mark Nelson. Mark, would you please come forward?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna leave my notes with.
Yes. That's fine. He does have access to his notes during his speech.
No,
or
it does not.
Does not. Okay,
No, it
thank you.
does not.
Please help me welcome Mark.
Thanks again, Jim. Yeah, well, Nancy, I thought your speech was informative, and your hand gestures were really good, and things like that. And you are such a genuine actor. You actually acted like I wasn't quite sure if this was, you know, if it was, you know, for real, or you know, some things that were kind of, you know, science fiction. But you had the newspaper up here, so that kind of took me, and you made reference to that. So, but as I think I really appreciate you being a member here. You've done a lot of good. And so, like I say, I thought your hand gestures were good. You're standing away from the lectern, that was good. And I don't know, I don't have too much more to say. So, yeah, thank you.
That's it. Thank you, Mark. You're welcome. 1 minute of silence for the judges to evaluate.
Let's see, do we have?
mention that, but it's not in this meeting.
Well, I'm gonna be sorry to miss Nancy's answer to your question. It's time for-
Nancy, would you
it's
please
time for
accompany
Virginia
me
and
here
I to
while
leave the
he
room.
completes, they complete the count and determine our winners today? Nancy, I was in the process of asking you about where your inspiration came from for Tall Tales. As a young girl, were you ever into Nancy Drew and that type of thing, or some of the intriguing stories? Tell me about your inspiration.
Well, first of all, I wanted to give a speech that everybody could relate to. Everybody has garbage, no matter who you are in life, you're gonna have garbage. I always have lots of garbage. The second thing I wanted to do is, I wanted to inform you about exactly how much is in our landfill. And sometimes it's kind of surprising, even to me, how much stuff goes into the landfill. And then, of course, you asked me about how did I actually think about something like this too. And I actually was going in the bathroom and I thought, oh, what do I give a speech on? What do I give a speech on? And it's sitting right in front of me, garbage. Because it's something that we all have. It's something we all accumulate in life. And the second thing is, my imagination took over when I seen the paper last night. I thought that would be kind of funny to kind of incorporate that into my speech a little bit. And then I thought, well, even just to make it a little bit more interesting, you gotta have a kind of a little book punchline to suck somebody in. So that's basically where it come from. And I just love to read, so maybe it's my imagination from reading, because I always say that reading is kind of like a relaxation for me, and my mind kind of goes into different areas. You just never know. So.
Thank you for that. The guys oftentimes were inspired by the Hardy Boys as young children. And then later, I remember as a teenager and older, I saw one time an article on the back of an outdoors magazine. I believe it was Outdoor Life. That may or may not have been the magazine. But I was introduced to a gentleman by the name of Patrick McManus. Patrick McManus is a humorist, author, who has compiled a number of books, one of these books is called They Shoot Canoes, Don't They? If you want to be entertained, irrespective of your gender, Patrick McManus is got to be a classic American author. He no longer writes. I don't even know if he's still living, but between the Hardy Boys and Patrick McManus, and then for the girl, it was always Nancy Drew, and then I really don't know if there was a comparable. What was the lady that died of pancreatic cancer just about 10 years ago? Just a wonderful humorist that published nationally. Tall Tales and humor absolutely have a wonderful part of our society, and Nancy, you have certainly made that evident in your speech today. Yes, sir.
Question, Jim. Could you tell me the name of that author again? We're just
Patrick McManus.
Patrick McManus.
Yeah, MC and then MANUS. Patrick McManus.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
He's in the library down here.
Yeah.
Classic,
Yeah,
classic individual. Well, we'll see what is going to transpire here. I hope we have people that are counting out there, resolving something. Where do we go from here? How do we pick up on one of these moments of silence that seems never to end? Mark, as a contestant, please come up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, here we come. Go ahead and hang on a second. We'll get our results and then if we have time, we'll
Okay.
continue.
You want to give this to you?
To
Yes,
Jim.
he did.
The results, please, and I will complete. I'd have our contestant. Okay. Okay, got it. Okay, bear with me just a moment as I fill in this. Here's the sheet. Okay. I need to ask the judges one question. Are there any disqualifications?
There was one disqualification.
Okay. There is a disqualification, and will that influence the outcome of the contest?
The sheet that you have has the ones that you may announce. The sheet that Virginia did has the winners that you may announce down at the bottom.
Okay, okay, very good. So, how do we do it when we don't have two people?
First and second.
First and second. Mark and Donna and Alan, would you all please come forward? I'm going to have you stand all over here on the side, and I'll be here with.
Does it take great skill to work your camera? Because you should be in the picture too.
Touch that, and it will do things.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, there's one.
This is Jim's job usually, so I'm a photographer in training here.
And honestly, I feel like I'm a contest chair in training.
Oh yeah, you guys are looking good. All right, I'm gonna wait till Jim gets next to you.
Okay,
and I'll
hang on
snap a
this second
couple of them.
here.
So remember, you're all winners, so you can all be smiling. Oh, yeah, even Jim's a winner, so you can be smiling when he's out there too.
This is the fun part of the contest. We're done. The results have been determined. First of all, in the evaluation contest for second place goes to Mark Nelson. Thank you. And first place in the evaluation contest then goes to Alan Roots. Congratulations, Alan. Thank you. Mark, you've got a thing going. You got second place in the international speech contest.
All right.
Oh, very much. Thank you. Thank you. That means that Donna got first place in the international speech contest.
Yay.
Congratulations, Donna. Now, bear with me just a moment here. I got a surprise for you. I think I have a surprise for you. Turns out that there's a lot of promotion going on for Toastmasters these days. And I'm going to give each of you a button, and it says, ask me about Toastmasters. So, these will be to all of our participants who in some way contributed, which is virtually everyone in the room. So, George? Oh, miss.
Oh, okay.
You got a picture of us?
Well, this is I can see almost everybody, but
Here, hold up your,
yeah, hold up your stuff and give us a
here, let's
smile.
get this up in front. Okay.
What was that old thing, smile, you're on candid camera?
Yeah, take a look at Pete there. And
Mark, look at Pete.
Yeah, we're getting there. There, I think we got enough
Okay,
Not
hey,
for Jim to
thank
see
you
his
all.
front.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna, Alan, Mark, you make this worthwhile. So with that, we are concluded. We will be, I'll have our next meeting will be our executive meeting
Yeah,
next Thursday.
it will be.
We are well
Downtown.
past our 1 o'clock time, so can I close the meeting then? That we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I think probably, I'm gonna be gone in March, so probably in April.
Well, it's the best I can
On
do.
the roster duties.
Okay. You have a ski team?
Well, I'll get one sometime, but I don't have one in mind.
You know, when you got started with the wildlife on Yellowstone.
Yeah, as part of the band or have Pete or
Yeah,
one of us.
might be good one for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I was
Okay,
interested,
good.
you decide. If you,
I don't have one in mind, but I'm scheduling one.
okay, April.
Alan said, you
I'll start
sucked
May.
this in.
Okay,
You
yeah.
really did that.
And then you'll have.
And your credibility was.
You'll have crop adjustment.
That'll be probably starting in July.
Okay, all right.
So you had
All
us,
right, great.
you led us down the
So,
garden
back
path by our
down
nose there
to
for a
Arizona.
while. So, yes.
Back down to
Wonderful, thank
Arizona, or what do you get to do?
Oh, in March,
Fun.
we're going to Pacific Grove, California.
Absolutely.
That's what my
I got a
brother's
whole
having
bunch of
80th birthday.
Oh, wow.
And so all of our siblings
Oh,
are.
You all got these and
Vacation
you
home.
want to be over here.
Flying down.
Or maybe you can tell a traffic story.
All right, Jim, I'm going to come
Oh,
back
all
right
right,
away.
good. Those you like.
What's that?
Yeah, all right.
I'll be back
I'm not
back
going till the
I was
11th.
gonna get
I think
back.
on anyway,
Time I get back.
so hey, it's good, it's good stuff.
For half of
I
it.
like that a lot.
Okay. See ya.
Let's pin you here, Mark.
Yeah, okay.
If you end up with a couple of them.
You don't have enough room to put up on my shirt. My shirt, here.
Here, let's put it on your jacket, so you're.
Which
Okay.
which one are you calling this, Nancy?
Number one.
Number one, okay.
There you are. Ask me about Toastmasters. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
You bet.
correct? Okay. And what was the title?
The title that I had was
They go
the
down,
mayor's new
Oh.
policy.
no,
Good.
they go in the, move it out on that side.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you,
You have to go,
Pete.
next time, sorry, go on there.
I'm really happy.
Right there.
See you again.
I see.
You as well.
I see you.
So
I know you
you are